Welcome to Beyond the Workout with your host, Eric Dunstan. Hello, everyone. This is Coach E. I just want you to know that anything you hear on Beyond the Workout podcast is just information only. It is not a diagnosis for your issues. So anything you hear for well-being, nutrition, fitness, exercise, any of those things, just take it that way as information. If you need help for a specific situation, please seek a professional. See your doctor, see a professional personal trainer, and they will diagnose your issues and they will take care of you. All right, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another show of Beyond the Workout. It's me, Coach E, your host, Eric Dunstan. And this show, I have a special guest, a guest that I've had on other shows before. And I invited her back again to talk about her journey. She's doing something special for her health. And for those of you who are 50, 60, 70 years old, hey, we can take care of our health. So let's just listen to what Deirdre Bey, my sister-in-law, has to say. All right, enjoy the show. Well, Dee Bey, welcome to another show with me of Beyond the Workout, and I am happy to have you on. I've been talking about you coming on, and I have to make it happen. And
I'm excited to be here.
Well, that's good. That's good. I think I told somebody. I think I told the folks the last episode I just did. I said it was either number 44 or 45. I wasn't sure, and this one is number 45. 45 with the goal to get to 50 and be consistent every week until I get there. So I got 5 more weeks to go till I get to that 50. And that's just the first stepping stone. The goal is to keep going even after that. So what's new in your life? You moved.
I moved. Yeah, that was the biggest thing. But yeah, just I guess the change of the weather. Well, it hasn't really changed. I can't say that. The change of season means you can't get the same things you used to get in the stores and stuff like that. So,
Oh, you mean as far as fresh foods and stuff?
yeah,
Like
like things that I like that I'm like, oh yeah, it's not that season anymore. Okay. Even though it technically weather-wise could be in this part of the country.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's going to come soon.
Okay.
So just be ready. I was driving down one highway and I saw there's a farm. It said, go down to the next intersection, take a left and go about a mile. I said, okay, I'm going to remember that. And when that food start coming in, we're going to take a trip down there and get some fresh fruits and vegetables. But the reason I had you on this particular show because let me go back to what I was doing, and then we'll talk about what you were doing. So I was doing what was called the NA. Okay, I'm saying it wrong. I'm gonna name it NF30. So it's I can't say it was supposed to be NSNF30. I'm sorry, guys out there. Plus, y'all see I don't have my microphone. It's not working, so I'm using my mic on my computer. I hope you can hear me clearly. So it was NSNF30, but I was going to call it NASNF, meaning no added sugars, no natural flavors for 30 days. So that's what I did and felt great. Got my weight all the way down. I showed on last podcast, got all the way down 191 pounds. Ooh. And my goal, I was always stuck at 210. My goal was to get down to 200. When I hit 198.4, I said, I'm under 200. So I went from there. I said, well, I'll go to my 196. And I was 196 like over 30 years ago before I got married. So
wow. That's
do that again.
And
then in my last show, I put myself out there. I said, I will never, ever go back over 200 pounds again.
Now you got to be accountable to you put it out there. So
yeah. So I did that program for 30 days, but you were doing something for 30 days. So what was that?
I was. So my sister, for everyone out there, she had me read this book. She recommended. It's called No Grain, No Pain by Dr.
You have that book? You still have the book?
I do have a book. I actually just got the book. We had it as a library book.
Oh no, don't go get
No,
it. Don't
it's
go get
back there.
it.
Yeah, we had it as a library book, but I actually got the book. So it's called No Grain, No Pain. It's by Dr. Osborne. And my first reaction to this book, honestly, when I started reading it was, why did I not have this 30 years ago? Like, it was crazy. So it was so amazing. So the first part of the book is just an explanation of grains and glutens and how much grain is actually in everyone's diet in hidden ways and how it affects the body. And then the second half of the book sort of is, it talks more about the 30-day plan is in there, talks about supplementation and all these other things. But it was an amazing read because I really learned some things for myself. So over the last 20, 30 years, I've changed the way I've been eating for a while because I just knew, things were upsetting my stomach. And then most recently, I think as of 2 years ago, my doctor did testing and she said I was borderline celiac. So she's like, yes, stay away from the gluten. But it was in reading this book that I realized most people think of gluten in wheat and rye, those are like the big ones, right? But in this book, it really points out that like there's gluten in all grains. It's just they're different types of gluten. And so, sometimes he's saying people adopt a gluten-free diet, but then they're having lots of oats and rice and all these other things that actually have gluten in them well. So like they're not feeling any better. They're still having issues. And so I was like, oh my goodness. So I was so excited to start the 30-day program. And yeah, it's made a huge, huge difference for me.
But let's go back because you
Mhm.
mentioned that the book said people don't realize that there's grain in mostly everything we eat. Can you
Mhm.
give an example of what that
Yeah.
means?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was looking, it's so funny as I'm reading through the book and he gives examples and I went to my pantry and I just started to look. So, I'm looking in various sauces, let's say. There's rice syrups or fillers, right? Or of
Yeah.
course, we know that there's corn. We know corn is used as a base for a lot of things. So that's the biggest grain, but rice as well. The same is true of, so even if you look at some processed milks, so you might have an almond milk, but it may have rice in it. Right, because it's something that's used, that's a filler. It's and I went through my pantry and I was like finding, oh my goodness, this has rice and corn in it. And this is rice and corn. And here I'm thinking, I'm staying away from all glutens and I'm getting it in even all these little things that I didn't even realize. So now I really noticed, especially not just with sauce, it's in sauces and sweeteners and things like that, but also things like I'm trying to think of, you know,
Would you say meat has it because what the
well,
animal eat?
yeah. So yeah, that was one of the things he pointed out too. I'm glad you mentioned that. So he was saying if you're not eating grass-fed, grass finished beef, for example, he says they're feeding it grain. And so you're getting grain secondhand.
Yeah.
And so, the same thing with chicken, if you're not eating pasture raised, or organic, he said it's not just organic because they might be feeding the animals organic feed, but if they're not eating a natural diet,
Right.
you're going to be getting grain secondhand. So that was something that was very interesting as well.
Yeah, when Michelle and I went to a store recently, I said, "Well, I can get this chicken. It says it's vegetarian fed." And she said, "Fed what though? What
Right.
vegetarian fed?" I said, "So I get free-range chicken. I
Mhm.
get that. I am now purchasing grass-fed beef, but I've cut down on my beef intake to maybe once or twice a week. And I am buying grass-fed butter. Got
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And people will say, like a guy on my job said, it just costs too much. I said, but your life is worth more.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, that's true.
Well, and
So,
it's, everything has a cost to it. So, the way I think about it is that either you're going to pay for it in the front end with good food, or you're going to pay for it on the back end with healthcare.
or hospital bills
Or
and stuff
hospital
like that.
bills,
Yep.
doctor
Yeah.
visits.
Yeah.
You're going to pay either
Yeah.
way. And it's actually cheaper to pay on the front end
Right.
and enjoy
Because
it.
especially how you will feel too. I mean,
Mhm.
I've still been struggling. I can tell my body is still working through this, but
Mhm.
I'm enjoying it. So, going back to the program, that reading the book, what did you need to have in order to get started with like day one? What would somebody need to go, okay, day one, I'm ready to start
Mhm.
30 days. What do you need to do first to get prepared for this?
Yeah. So, I personally, I went through the menu to kind of see, oh man, I was thinking to myself, I'm going to need like this huge shopping list, and
Hmm.
whatnot. But it wasn't extraordinarily difficult. Um, so for example, I think day one for breakfast, it was like 2 eggs, blueberries, almonds. Okay.
Okay.
Lunch was like tuna on greens, um, with like a vinaigrette and an apple. And I think dinner was uh it was a chicken breast with a sweet potato and broccoli. Nothing on on the menu. So the way it was broken out is it was a 7-day menu that you would then repeat.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So it wasn't
Yeah.
like you had to get a lot of different ingredients. A lot of the recipes were for more than one um, serving. So you could also repeat it. And you could actually move things,
Hmm.
around from the days. And so it was actually pretty straightforward. And it wasn't anything unusual, as far as what was needed. So it wasn't hard to get started. I had what I needed without actually having to go to the grocery store.
Yeah, but if somebody had to, because a lot of us eat ultra processed foods, and
Mhm.
that stuff we can't have. We have a lot of grains and oats, like you said, in our houses. So if they had to go grocery shopping, is it an exhaustive list that they have to get, or can
No, I
they
don't think
do
so.
part of it? Like sometimes I have to go grocery shopping like on a Sunday and then
Mhm.
again on a Wednesday because my food maybe lasts to Wednesday. Then I got to prepare for Thursday, Friday, and so
Yeah, I
forth.
I think for this program, it was pretty easy. At least the first part, the first 15 days were pretty easy. It's like you're buying quality meats and
Okay,
good vegetables, basically.
okay,
And some of them could be frozen, like fruits and things, a couple of fruits in there. Um, but uh, also the fact that the servings were for more than one serving. So if you're the only one in your family doing it, then you're
yeah,
fine to have this serving and then a couple days finish it up. So
right.
yeah, it's pretty easy. The second part of the 30 days, the 16 through 30, for me it was a bit more challenging. Although it was still the same setup, 7 days, and then you repeat, and then repeat one of the days a second time. Um, but in that second phase, you're taking a few more things out. So, like red peppers, certain spices, and things like that. And so that was a little more of a challenge because I was like, but I like jalapenos, I want to put that in there. But it was that was a challenge for that reason. But again, the recipes were pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah, but you've always been into fresh foods, not a lot of, even though when you were over here, sometimes we do have some processed foods, but hey, once in a while that
Hmm.
works out. But mentally, I mean, usually the first 10 days, that's why people say start 10 days or start 5 days. What was the mental struggle that you had, if you had it? You, because I heard you say, oh, it was easy. First 15 days, it was
Yeah,
easy, but was it easy up here? Would people have a hard time with it
I
mentally?
say it was okay. So obviously I can only speak for myself. For me, it was easy because in a physical way, I mean, for myself, I'm always have had stomach issues from the time I was a
Uh,
child, right? And
mhm.
so within the first 5 days, it's like I suddenly was not feeling bad. And I didn't realize how long I had been feeling bad because it was low level, just kind of low level sickness. So you get used to things, you
You
acclimate,
tolerated it.
you
You just
tolerate it, and
tolerated
you
it.
just
Yeah,
becomes a part of life. And so
right.
then when it's gone, it's like, whoa, wait, what? I actually don't like, there's no low level pain, no discomfort. And that was in like the first 5 days. Like, what? So for me, mentally, that took a burden off because I knew, okay, the next recipe I make, I wasn't worried about, oh, how's this gonna make me feel? Right. Because so far I'm feeling better and better. So for me, it was actually not hard mentally or
Okay.
emotionally. Um, I had to simply just make time for some of the recipes, like to marinate, you know, my chicken and the peppers and garlics and stuff like that. Let
Yeah.
that set up. So it's like, okay, I had to think about, well, this is going to take a little more time. Okay, I'll have this day. That was the only struggle for me whatsoever. The rest was like, wow, I can't believe I feel this good.
Well, that is excellent. So, you talked about not feeling bad after the first 5 days, but what the whole entire program, finishing the entire program, 30 days, during coming up to the end of the 30 days and then right after, what were some significant changes besides your stomach feeling better? But
Mhm.
I mean, what were some other changes that would what that people would say like, yeah, I want that.
Yeah, so
Anything else?
I think like the biggest was just my stomach feeling good. I also lost weight. Um,
You care to say how much?
I, it's an ongoing progress, so it's like it goes up and down. But I like within the first week, I had dropped like 5 pounds, and so I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" And I was really, I was eating great, and like I mean, as far as great, as far as like enjoying the food, like really good flavor and stuff. My skin was clearing up. Not that I've had a problem with acne, but I had noticed my skin was starting to, I don't even know how to describe it. I was starting to get patches and things like that. All of that
Uh-huh.
just like cleared right up. Definitely more energy. I want to say be my sleep improved tremendously too.
I wish I can say the same thing, but I've been still struggling with my sleep. But and for those that don't know that I've stopped greens for since probably around I did say it in my last show, probably around June or July of 2023. I stopped all rice, I stopped flours, starches. Even though now with my new cookbook, I'm adding in sweet potatoes again. Um, but I saw a significant. I think this taking the grains out made the big difference. I stopped
Mhm.
oats.
Right.
I mean, just everything, and because what I learned, because you thank you again for turning me on to Mr. Doctor Mark Hyman. So, and he said something that no one else has ever said. He said, "The body, you always hear about essential fatty acids. So we
Mm-hmm.
need the fat intake. You get the avocados or olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Even some animal fat is good for you. And then he says you got essential amino acids, which is comes from your protein. But he said you never hear about essential carbohydrates.
That's true.
And I was like, wow, that's true. But it
Mm-hmm.
was a mental thing for me because when I was competing, we would always cut our carbs. But we would cut our carbs and I would get a headache and I would feel tired, no energy. But it was a mental thing because it
Mm-hmm.
was like you need your carbs for energy. You don't. The only kind of carb you really need are your vegetable carbs,
Right. Not the
fibrous carbs,
refined carbs. Yeah.
right? You
Right.
don't need the starchy carbs. You need the fibrous carbs like your cruciferous vegetables and things like that, and your dark
Yeah.
leafy greens. So that's awesome. So what else did I want to ask you about it? I asked you about, so would you recommend this to others and why?
Oh, I would definitely recommend this to others. And I have, it's as I was reading the book, I'm telling people, you got to read this book because I realized like this has far-reaching effects. And just how much we don't realize how much processed food is in our diets, and how much with that, how much grain is in our diet. And it's just not healthy to have, this much grain. And so I would recommend it because it lays out the principles in a very simple and easy way. And also, kind of helps you look at, as you're moving through the program, what works for you as an individual, since we are all, biodiverse, we all, are unique.
Yeah.
So one of the things, which I appreciated, like, for instance, I learned in this book, was that, so some people, eggs are something that are throughout the program, the 30 days. But he mentions, not everyone can stomach eggs. They're just,
Right.
it depends on the person. But if you can't, then if you can't do chicken eggs, try a duck egg, because some people find that works for them. So it was so funny for me within the first week, since he had eggs on the list, but because the low level pain was gone, I could finally feel like a real direct connection to, oh, my body does not like eggs. And I
Mm-hmm.
would, eat it. And it was like, okay, I had eggs and now I'm sick. It's like, oh.
Yes.
And so it was like things that I would have before. Now I realize, okay, yeah, my body doesn't like that. And so the way he lays it out, super simple, but yeah, really useful. And so I definitely recommend it. Definitely.
And especially for those in their 50s, 60s. I mean, we need to take charge of our health. I was reading a headline. This woman said her daughter is a fitness enthusiast. She's popular on social media, but I'm not happy for her. And then I started reading part of it. And she says, because she got abs, I don't. The mom was jealous of her own daughter. But we look at younger people and we think, wow, they look great. But that doesn't mean we can't look great.
Right.
We could take care of our health. It's not only about look, it's not just cosmetic, but inside and outside. I'm gonna do another show.
There's a correlation. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna do another show that talks about, I'm gonna emphasize again about the foods we eat and how we should choose them. And but I wanted to go back to something. I think it was two things I wanted to ask you, but
Mhm.
the one I do remember is, do they have to see their doctor before they do this?
Don't, because there's nothing in this program that's going to hurt anyone, regardless. Although he mentions in the book, it's nice to talk with your doctor and at least get a baseline, of
Right.
your body. But yeah, there's nothing, especially when it comes to supplementation. He mentions, like it's a really good idea to know. So not all supplementation is going to be good for everyone, because it all depends on what you need. So, you know, if you're taking supplements that your body doesn't really need, then you're basically just throwing money away, and it could have adverse effects. So he mentions, you know, like going to your doctor and getting a baseline, understanding, getting some testing to know what you need, so that you kind of know how to proceed. And one of the things he says in his book, which has also been said elsewhere, is that your body is the best doctor in the room. So listen to your body, you know. And if in the program, if it says, you know, such and such chicken, but your body doesn't like chicken, then you take that out. You put something else in there, but you get it basically, you still follow the principles.
Right. Very good. That's what happened with me. I had said I was never going to eat chicken again, but some of these recipes I have now talk about eating chicken. So, but it's chicken with no grains, lots of vegetables, and we'll see how my body responds. So I think we did cover the one point I wanted to mention about who could this be for. And it, you know, we're both in our 50s, and you would recommend, hey, 50-year-olds and stuff like that. We talked about that. So what is your plan going forward, though, with regards to grains or other nutritional changes? Because I have had some things with added sugar in it, but now I'm looking at something that has natural flavor. I still can't do it because of my research. And I'm trying to stick to that, but I know, I know what my other question was for you. Before we talk about what's your plan going forward, and I'm not going to talk about myself anymore. So, were you able to go out with others and eat out with others during this 30 days? Or was it one of those, I can't go out, I can't do this with you, I can't do that? Because that's what people want to still socialize.
Right. No, I absolutely did go out. I don't go out a lot anyway, just I do like to cook at home, but I did go out probably at least a couple of times during that you know, intense 30-day period. And I think for me, it was fine because I just had to think through, you know, there were options, but it was just like thinking through, okay, I can have, in fact, we went out during, like, I think right at the beginning of this. And
in Raleigh? That's
in
the Raleigh trip? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we went out, and, you know, I'm looking at what's on there, and I was like, okay, I can do the duck. That's got that's got these, I think they were some sort of berry sauce, and it had like a potato thing. I was like, okay, yeah, there's nothing on here. And after we had asked about how things are prepared, I was like, okay, I can do this. So yeah, it's pretty easy.
I was going through mine at the same time. And I made sure no rice and other grains were on there. So it was good.
Exactly.
So now let's get back to what's your plan going forward with these no grains or other nutritional changes?
So for me,
you sticking to it?
The no grain is a done deal. I mean, because honestly, just I haven't felt like to have my stomach feel this good, like after decades of not, like, it's worth it. It's totally worth it. So for me, I am definitely going to be paying attention to like those hidden grains and things. I think more importantly, because, you know, like for the big things that I make, yeah, it's easy to avoid rice and it's easy to avoid corn and all that stuff, but it's those hidden things, and which means just avoiding more processed foods, that's not a bad thing. So
that's
so
it.
yeah.
Well, let me just say, like Dr. Hyman says, we all eat processed foods. So when you go to the store, it's been through a process.
Right.
The one thing that we want to avoid is ultra processed foods.
Exactly.
So those snack foods, those chips, those I don't know, whatever you call it. I've
Chips
been
and bars and just everything.
Yeah. I mean, a friend of mine, he showed me a bar he was eating, and it was the word on it was clean. and I think it was because it's supposed to have clean ingredients. So I said, let me go
Mm-hmm.
look it up. I'm like, these aren't clean ingredients.
Yeah.
So I'm going through it, and I saw the words natural flavors. Boop. I said,
Mm-hmm.
nope,
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, and it
So
even applies to things that, you would think are naturally just a good snack. So sometimes you will go and you will find apple chips, or you will find, some dry fruit. But if you look at the package, a good package of apple chips has one ingredient, apples.
apples. Hello,
But
hello.
so many of them, and when you look at it, they've got apples, sodium dioxide, that, and sweetener, and all these things. It's like, nah,
Yeah,
pass. So even things that look like they're healthy can be fraught with all sorts of issues. So,
that's right. So I had one more question for you. I
Mhm.
said we're not going to take this question out.
Okay.
I loaned you Michelle's Strongboard. You been using it?
I nearly killed myself the first time. I nearly broke my back as I was falling off. But I have improved since then.
Good.
Yeah, I've improved, and uh, my goal was to, well, initially my goal was to, do 5 minutes each time. Well,
Mhm.
I realized 5 minutes was too long initially,
It
and
is. It
I was like,
is.
"Oh, that's not gonna work." So anyway, my goal is to build up to five
Right.
to 5 minutes, and yeah, but it's going well. But
Can I
yeah,
share this screen? Can I share this video of me?
of course,
All right. Can you see that?
I do. Yeah,
Let me
there's
move it a
some,
little bit.
there's a little black box
Something
on it.
blocking. Now it shouldn't be blocking. It's still blocking?
No, I can see it now.
Okay. So this is what I told Michelle to do every day, every morning. Just get up and do 10 toe touches on the
Mm.
strong board to work with your balance.
Oh,
Just
you're
do
doing
10
pretty
of them.
good. Look at you.
Yeah, but guess what happened? I started using the strong board. That's how I'm gonna start doing. I started with doing squats.
Okay,
And let me stop that.
I try.
So I
Yeah.
started doing with squats, and I fell backwards off and severely tweaked my back. And right then I said, I won't get back on this thing again. That was a mistake. And
Hmm.
then I said, you know what? When you fall off, get right
Get back
back up
on.
and keep going. And as we get older, we need to work on our balance. So I
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna keep doing it. I did it today. I'm doing other exercises with it. So
Oh, good.
um, squats, I'm doing shoulder presses, I'm doing triceps, I'm doing biceps, I'm doing back rows on it.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, I'll be posting those. You'll see
Oh,
them, just
cool.
little clips.
Those
But just
that's
do it.
Yeah.
Do everything
Goals,
with it.
goals.
Like
Like,
it's just fun. It's been fun, and I hope I'm a tag the guy who actually invented the thing, and hopefully he's still in business. I would recommend that device for anyone.
yeah.
So
Just
anyway,
have to go slow.
oh yeah, not 5 minutes at a time
Yeah,
though.
no,
Get
not
on
when you
for a minute.
starting.
Do 5 squats on it if you can. Just be near a
Right.
wall. Learn how to
Exactly.
get off of it. Don't fall off like I did. But anyway, this was great, and I think
Yeah.
this is going to be very encouraging for our contemporaries out there. Those who are 50, 60, 70, even you 70-year-olds. Don't give up. And I'm glad to have had you on the show again. And
Thank you for
hey,
having me.
you were on there a lot before when I started, but it was so sporadic. I wasn't consistent, but I
Always
made a
love being
commitment.
on.
Okay, good, good. So maybe we'll come back and talk about something else. There might be some other things we can talk about, some other nutritional goals, and
Yeah.
maybe we can come back and see if we're still sticking to our goals.
That sounds good. I like that.
All
Sounds
right,
like a
any
plan.
last words? Any last words for our
Well,
older, mature folks?
I will say again, I've been telling everyone again, this book, No Pain, No Grain, No Pain by Dr. Peter Osborne. It is well worth a read, whether you get it from your library or wherever. It's well worth the read. So,
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I'm learning. I showed some books that I'm using now. One is Limitless, and I'm learning to speed read. So maybe I'll get that book and I'll speed read. It's amazing. But I have to
Ooh,
keep building that muscle of speed read. But
there you go.
that's it. I'm going to sign out from everyone. This is Coach E telling you all, like I always tell you, make great choices out there, especially when it comes to your health. Eat well, be well. And this is Coach E signing out. Thanks for listening to Beyond the Workout podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please be sure to check me out at ericdunstan.com and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Physique Improvements. Take care, everyone.